before this video gets started, I just want to do a little announcement. I do have a giveaway for all of you. I will have it on Instagram, and then I will start laying the stuff out so you guys can see what's in it. Things have been so hectic I haven't had a chance, but I want you to know the giveaway I'm still doing a giveaway this month. It's going to be at the end of the month, but it's still coming, and I didn't want anyone to think I had forgotten. Well, happy holidays, everyone. How are you all doing? From the title, I think you're all here to see the worst of 2023. And I figured if I was going to do the worst of 2023 that I should have, the Grinch be part of the video. And this technically is supposed to come down over this part of your face so you can have this on the top part of your hat. But, I was like, yeah, but you have to see the makeup that I'm wearing. Because I went through the trouble of trying to do a color that would be similar to the Grinch coloring on my eyes, which is not something that I normally wear. So I was like, well, I'll just keep it up here and it'll look a little weird, but I think it gets the message across. So this is going to be the Grinchiest video of the year. I generally don't, when I'm reviewing makeup, I'll usually say something along the lines of, this might work for someone, doesn't work for me. I try to be fair because this is a very subjective thing, right? Everybody likes different things in makeup, like anything else. And very rarely will I come across a product where I'll be like, this is just a bad product and I think it's bad. I don't think anyone should use it. So my worst of and my fails that I'm going to go through, most of them are things that just were really highly disappointing. That for various reasons I had certain expectations, and maybe I shouldn't have had those expectations, but that just really let me down. And I was just like, this is what I was excited about, that kind of thing. There are a few products that I actually, one or two that I just think are bad. I don't really get the point of them. But most of them are, like I said, products where I was really excited. I wanted to love them and just didn't. So let's go back in our Wayback Machine and talk about the Hourglass lipsticks. Now, I have 3 shades here. I have Oasis, I have Dahlia, and I have Shore. And these are the unlocked lipsticks. They have the H on the top and the bunny in there. And there's nothing wrong with these lips. I have Oasis on right now. And I was trying them again I was trying all these products again just to see if I felt really that I didn't like them. And I don't know what it is about these lipsticks that I don't reach for them ever. They're cute. I like the way they're packaged. The lipsticks are fine. The colors are there's colors in here that I like. Vegan, all those good things. But for some reason or another, I just don't reach for these. And I find myself when I'm looking for a creamy lipstick, I just don't even consider them. And I'd love to get your thoughts. I wanted to start with this one because it's a fail, or the worst of, because literally I have not touched them since I bought them. This past week has been the first time I've tried them out again, just to make sure. And when I was trying them out again, I was like, these aren't bad. Why do I not why do I not use them? They don't have a scent. They feel pretty creamy on. They're decent lasting for a lipstick. So is it that there's just been so much coming at us this year that they got tossed aside? Or is there something that I'm not acknowledging that makes me not reach for them? So I'm putting this in this sort of special category of almost like a fail to myself to bring them out and try to use them again to better understand why I haven't. And it's actually another reason that I'm going on this low buy, no buy, for the first part of the year, because it's possible that there's nothing wrong with those lipsticks and I would really, really like them if I had less lipstick. So that's my first, because I just thought it was a really kind of unique situation where I went back to test it, couldn't really find a reason why I had put it in my sort of to be considered for this video, because I hadn't used it at all. As it was like, well, if I haven't used it at all, I must not like something about it. Can't figure out exactly what that is. So that's my first. Second, are the Giorgio Armani blushes. These are the new blushes that came out that replaced my favorite blushes of all time, the Neo, well, not of all time, my favorite cream to powder blushes of all time, the Neo Nude ones. And I was so excited about these blushes and literally had to go through a lot to get 10 and 11 because they weren't available. I think it was 11 that wasn't available here in the United States and 10 was, and 10 and 11, by the way, are very, very similar. Very, very similar. I'll swatch them for you here. These blushes are really very nice. Again, sort of like with the Hourglass. There's nothing wrong with these. They're creamy, they're very pretty, but, so this is 11, and this is 10. So 10 is a little pinker. 11 is probably more what I reach for more often, has a little bit more brown to it. 10's a little pinkier. But I bought 6 of them. And the shade that's my favorite is the shimmery one because I tend to like more shimmery blushes. Shade 50. It has like it almost looks like NARS Orgasm, similar to that. It has that kind of vibe to it. And I do like it, and I think it's a very beautiful luminescent blush. And I have worn this one, quite often. But again, I'm not reaching for these blushes. And when I really, really love something, like when I'm like and this is a spoiler, but you all know this is coming if you've watched my videos. This is a spoiler for best of. The Dior Luminizers. When they came out, I was not predisposed to like them. I heard that they were going to have sort of a tingly thing, and I hate that. And so I had written them off. I was kind of like, I'm not going to like these. And I love them. And I use them, no joke, practically every day since they came out. And I have so many different shades. So when I really like something, when something is really, really good, I do reach for it. I make sure that it's in my purse or at the top drawer or whatever. So, back to the Hourglass lipsticks and then these Armani blushes. These are really nice blushes. They have great pigment. This one, for me, for my coloring and for what I'm looking for, this one is really a luminescent, like goldy peach pink shade that I really like and I think looks really good on me. Why don't I reach for those as much as I'm reaching for, say, Suku or some of the Chanel blushes or even the Dior blushes? And again, I'm not absolutely sure, but I think it's because I tend to forget a little bit about brands like Hourglass and Armani because I spend a lot of my time on Chanel, Dior, Tom Ford. So I think these things are fails in the sense that I am not continually using products that aren't, from the quote, big luxury brands because I'm so caught up in all the releases that are coming out. So I'm gonna spend a little time with some of these, like the Armanis, like the Hourglasses, to see if the reason they weren't used was because either there was something about them that as I was using them I realized I didn't like, or if it was more of they just sort of got shoved to the side because there were so many releases. We'll see. We'll see. The rest of the products are things I just really didn't like. I know exactly why I haven't used them. So let's go ahead and dig in. The first is the Chanel oversized palettes. Now, I did buy both of them so you guys could see them. And I said at the time, there's nothing wrong with them. The formula's fine. They're not like the blushes of old, but they're not bad. I mean, they had pigment, they're pretty. I'll make sure I link a video up talking about when these came out early in the year. And for people who really love an oversized palette, like the idea of an oversized palette, sure. But these were the extras on the back, eyeshadow and blush. I'm sorry, but this is not, to me, I'm not going to use this for eyeshadow and blush. This to me is a blush palette. Now, if the fact that you have products that you can use for multi-purposes, let's face it, we've all been doing that for forever. People use lipstick on their cheeks and they use eyeshadow on their face and lips. I mean, you can use products any way you want to. So that's fine. But to kind of promote it as an eyeshadow blush, I don't know. I just felt like it didn't really fit with the colors that are in here. These seem, to me, like blush palettes. Call them that, and then people can use them for whatever the heck they want. That's just my take. You can all disagree with me, that's totally fine. Just for my purposes of what I buy, it just didn't really make sense. And then for the price, I'm not gonna use this much of these colors. And if you're gonna make it a blush palette, quite frankly, then come up with the formula that you used to have. Go back, like do something exceptional. Do something like that would just blow us away and be like, oh my goodness, this is the best blush I've ever used. Otherwise, I don't know why people need these. If you're somebody who likes to wear a lot of blush and you want to have multiple shades of blush in one palette, again, I could see the purpose of that. If that's the kind of thing you're trying to buy, like you like to, when you travel, you like to have several blushes and you want to have them all in one palette, okay, I could see that. Then I'd be like, oh, okay. But if that's the case, then again, there's shades in here that look more like a highlighter or maybe even I don't know, maybe an eyeshadow. So it didn't fit any one box, and I feel like it failed at all of them. I am one of those people who doesn't love a multi-purpose product anyway, so wasn't really my thing. But again, it wasn't a fantastic out-of-the-box formula. It didn't go back to the old formula, blush formula of old. The color stories in both of these, I was kind of like, okay, I'm not sure what you're trying to be here. If you're trying to be a blush palette, then just call it a blush palette and be done with it. If you're going for both, then really come up with something that would work for both, because I didn't really get that. And I just overall was just not impressed, especially for the price. So I was just like, I don't get the point of this. It seemed gimmicky to me overall. It was like, oh, it's oversized. Okay. Oversized is only good if you want more of something, right? And most of the time, at least to me, the fact that something's limited, the fact that something's smaller, the fact that something is fleeting, I don't know, makes it worth more, not less. Like having too much of something isn't a good thing. So let's continue with Chanel, because Chanel had some interesting products this year. So this is the Allure mascara. This is the one that has the pop top like the lipsticks. There are several problems with this mascara. This is the black one. The red one is the one I'm talking about, and I cannot find it, which means I could have thrown it out. It's entirely possible. The mascara flakes terribly. No matter what you do, it flakes. It does lengthen when you first put it on, and it actually isn't a bad mascara for like when you put it on your eyes, but it immediately flakes. Like it didn't even take 30 minutes before it started to flake, and it all, like, there was so much flaking. I haven't had a mascara flake like this maybe ever. So and the red shade that they came up with, if you're gonna have red mascara, you have to have it be like a particular, in my opinion, shade of red. Otherwise, you're gonna make people look very ill. And this shade made people look very ill. If I could find the link when I did the review on this, it's just not good. And I'm not sure it would look good on anyone. I really don't think it was a skin tone thing. I think it's just the wrong shade of red. Like a rust, I get rust. It wouldn't be my favorite, but I get it. Purple, again, blue, green, fine. But red, not an attractive look right around your eyes. It's not pleasant. Let's continue with Chanel, because we've got a lot of Chanel. Chanel did some great things this year. You'll see them in my favorites, but also did some really terrible things. But I'd also say that has a lot to do with the fact that they released a ton of stuff this year. And this, again, goes to you see, I'm in my Grinchy mood right now, my salty Saturday. There's too much stuff. If you release this much, yes, there's going to be things that are, in my opinion, bad, because there's just too much and you don't have time to make sure every single product is made to the level that it needs to be, because you're doing too much. I'm sure we've all had that, right? When you're just doing too many things, generally something has to give, and whatever it is, it is. Like, it's you forgot to do something, or you end up making a mistake on something because you're doing too many things at once. There's too much product. If they, in my opinion, if they just focused on a smaller set of products and made them more special and made them more unique, and the quality was outstanding, we would be, I think many of us would be thrilled with that, and we would have less products, but we don't need this. Nobody needs this much in 1 year. If I look at all of the products, I'm gonna do a video on that about everything that I bought this year. Guys, and I didn't even buy a quarter of what was actually released. So there's just too much out there. All right, so continuing with Chanel. Are the Chanel loose powder, the eye powders or whatever they're called. I'll make sure the name is right in the description box. But I thought these was a really cute idea, and I like the innovation. I like the fact that Chanel was trying to do something different. So I want to give them that. But I don't feel like these things work. And I know that there's a lot of ways that you can use them. I know you can put your brush in the cylinder and take the powder out. I know that you can very gently tap off the sponge and do a very light look with them. And actually, they look really nice on the eye. They look very luminescent. They're very, very pretty. But the mechanism, in my opinion, the point of this was to make an easy product that you just pull out and throw it on your eye. That does not work. I did a video with you just pull it out and throw it on your eye, which is what most people are gonna do, because most people are not makeup artists. Most people are, look, I mean, most people I know don't wear makeup very often. And if I gave them this product, they would have it all over their face. I'm just being honest. So that's not gonna work. You need to create something that works for everybody, that's easy to use. And then you can have more complicated, more detailed types of products for makeup artists and for others who want to do that type of thing. If you release something like this and just be like, oh, this is an easy, quick way to get a powdered look on your eye, and then you go to do it, and you have to take 3 steps to make it work, then you've negated the whole purpose of the product. So again, it's not that it doesn't look nice. It's not like there's not ways around it. I got all that, but I still think it's a fail in the way that it was created. I think there was a problem with the way they decided that people would use these. I don't think they really thought of the fact that this is not, it's just, the idea is a great idea, but it just doesn't work in practice. And again, all my opinions, guys. If you disagree and you love these products, that is totally fine. These are just my opinions. Don't feel bad if you love them. If you love them and they're working for you, you go. All right, so the last Chanel product, and this really bummed me out because I love the design of this and I was really excited about the way it looked. So this is the Holiday Illuminating Powder Duo, and it comes in the bigger box, and it has the sequins on it. It's the sequins are here, and then they sort of like, you know, fall into the white shade underneath. And I love the design of this. I think it's so pretty, roaring 20s kind of thing. And the eyeshadow that came with this is great. I love the eyeshadow palette. In fact, the formula in the eyeshadow palette, again, spoiler, one of my favorites. Thought it was really, really good. It came with this little other pouch with this little brush, which I never use. But the thing about this product is it's sparkle. Like, it's just sparkle. And again, for the people that are buying this product, I'm gonna assume most of them didn't want just sparkle, glitter, and that's all that is. You can get it to look nice. It does look nicer on the eye, like you can put it on the eye. But again, that's a very expensive product. It's limited edition. I love the way they did the design, but if maybe they had spent more time on how the product actually worked and looked instead of just the design of the product, you know, it would have been better. Yeah, it's really pretty and you can put it in your drawer and you can look at it, but that's not the purpose of makeup. Makeup is supposed to make people feel more confident about themselves, and that to me is not doing it. It's just gonna look like glitter on your face. So I don't get the point of that one. Tom Ford. Tom Ford had 2 highlighters that came out this year that I bought. One that I really loved, which is the Soleil collection, and then this one, which is Oasis, and this is the Soleil de Faux. It's like, it's not for me. First of all, it's it's too deep to work as a highlighter for me, which is fine because there's lots of people that it might work on, but it's just sparkly again. Like we get this sparkle kind of thing. And every time I used it, it just accentuated texture. It just made me look older. Now, that could be the color. It could be the fact that the peachy gold just looks really bad on my skin tone. And so there may be some of you out there that it looks really, really good on. But for me, I will not use this as a highlighter. And I won't even use it as a blush because, like I said, it makes me look older. It ages my skin. So the only way I would see me using this is maybe on my eyes. I think it would work on my eyes. Not in the winter. It's not really a shade I would use in the winter, but I'm going to try it in the summer and see what we think. But other than that, that sucker's going to be sitting in a drawer. Hermes. Hermes had some great releases this year. Again, we'll see that in the favorites. But then they had their bronzers. And I was really excited about their bronzers. And again, there is one shade that I think actually will work for me, and I still haven't bought it because I have so much makeup, I don't need to buy another one. And in the future, I might actually buy it depending on, what other things come along. But the two lightest shades, when I was doing my bronzer video, I was looking for bronzers that would work on pale skin. And the two lightest shades that they did, 01 and 02, 01 is Totori and 02 is Atlas, they're terrible. Like, the shades are terrible. These would not work as bronzers on anyone that is pale skinned, which is what these are for, because it's 01, 02. This is their lightest bronzer. I understand if it was just going to be a warm bronzer, that's fine. I don't like warm bronzers, but other people do, so that's fine. Plus, there's people who have light skin, pale skin, who have a warm skin tone, or an olive skin tone, or a yellow skin undertone. That's all fine, again. But I don't really think either one of these would work on that either. These are just not shades that are... I'm not sure what they were meant to do. So here's Totori, for example. And this is the lightest shade they have. And it's like orange. It's like an orangey peach. That's not going to look good as a bronzer on anyone. At least as far as I can tell. So I don't know who they tested this on. Like when they're making makeup that costs $110 for one bronzer, you'd think they would get some models and try them on some models and be like, oh, that doesn't really work. Now, maybe there's one group of people, maybe there's like a very small percentage where it does work. But I can tell you for the majority of people, because I've worked on a number of different skin tones, that for a pale skinned person is not going to be a good look. It's just not. Again, warm, cool, neutral, whatever. That shade is not a good bronzer shade. So yeah, that to me is just a huge fail. Number two, Atlas, it's a little better. It's not great. It's still got this like orange. You can see it. It's that orange kind of shade that used to be prevalent in like home tan, like when you do like self tanning and it would turn orange back in if you were around back then in the 80s and probably 90s. Self tanner turned orange and it was bad. It did not look good. That's what these remind me of. Now the deeper shades seem to have been better. I did not purchase them, but I have friends who have them and I've seen them and they actually some of them look really nice. And I actually think there's a couple of deeper ones that would actually even work for me. So I don't think the range was at all good because there was 6 shades and I don't really think, I don't think that the deeper shades work for people with deeper skin. And I think the pale shades are terrible for people with pale skin. So to me, that's a total fail, especially for the price point. For the price point, that's just ridiculous. All right, so last, again, this is a product that was just disappointing. I don't think it's a fail. I just think it's not something I'm going to use often. So for me, it does unfortunately go on my worst of list. These are the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Glide eye pencils. And I love Lisa Eldridge products. Her lipsticks are some of her velvet lipsticks. The problem with these pencils is that they do glide on beautifully. They remind me of the Victoria Beckham pencils, and they're they're seamless. Like literally, you can just, you know, I have like no pressure on this pencil, which is really great when you, especially when you have more mature skin and you don't want something to, you know, drag. The problem is though, when I wear them on my eye, it transfers. So it transfers onto my upper lid, it transfers underneath, and I have dry skin and I don't usually have a problem with eyeliner transferring. In fact, it's rare for me to have eyeliner transfer. And so that would be fine if the way that they were marketed were, you know, really soft pencils that need to be smudged out and they don't, you know, they're better for, you know, very dry skin or something along those lines. But they were marketed as being like transfer proof and wearing for forever. And these just don't. They just, at least not on me. They transferred immediately. And it kept happening no matter what I did. Like even if I set powder over it, it still transferred. If you blend them out into like eyeshadow on your eye, then they stay. But if you just use it as liner and don't smudge it out, it transfers. It just does. So I'm not somebody who uses liner to then smudge out that liner on my, as like a base for my eyeshadow or as eyeshadow. So I just don't see me using these very often because I have the Victoria Beckham, which are just as smooth and they don't transfer on me. And then I have Chanel and Dior and Chantecaille and a whole bunch of other liners that are excellent, that stay and I don't have any problems with. So there's no reason for me to use these, just given the fact that I have products that work as well and don't transfer. And then I have ones that literally like my Chanel's that are, for at least for me, you know, holy grail products. So guys, those are my worst of list for this year. I am sure I've missed something. I tried to go back through, like I said, through everything, and I will have a video where I talk about that, like all the makeup for the year, but there's so much, and it's entirely possible that whatever it was that I really, really disliked, I like just got rid of. But I'll go back through my lists, and if there is something that occurs to me, or if you guys remember out there if there's something, certainly let me know. And I'd love to hear from all of you what your worst of was, what product you were excited about that really let you down. You know, like I said, this is a very subjective thing, so everybody's gonna have different lists. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. Happy holidays. I hope to see you in another video really soon.